everybody. I'm Amy.
And I'm Audrea.
This is the Right Crowd. So grab a cup of coffee,
Or your cup of tea.
maybe a little something on the rocks, and let's get started.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Mine matches today.
Oh, it sure does. Oh, wait, mine does too.
Well, there you go. We're
It's a little hedgehog.
professionals. That's your hedgehog. That's a cute one.
It's a little hedgehog. Yeah. And I will say right now, I realize I have a hair that it literally is just coming out of the side of my head. So if all of a sudden in this video you see a hair, it's not controllable. I'm just saying. And we're gonna let it be.
Fair enough.
We're gonna let it be. All righty. So we're getting back to book reviews. Yay!
Finally, yes.
All right. And this is the cool thing, is that it seems like half the time that we do a book, we end up with our books look different, even though it's the same book.
It's
so
weird.
1, 2, 3. It's the same book.
The same book.
They look different. I don't know. We're guessing that mine was printed after hers.
Yes.
Let me see if
What's
we
your
literally just discovered.
Oh,
it doesn't say that this is any kind of printing of the book.
Yeah, it doesn't say on mine. I'm gonna guess, yeah, yours is after. Yours is newer. I like your cover better.
I do too. I like my cover. So if you'll notice, it's super little. So there's gonna be one video for this book. One. You don't have to come back and watch more videos for this one book. I also need to figure out, I realize when I see myself on the camera that I'm always looking like down here in the corner. I got to figure out where I'm supposed to look. It's like, am I supposed to look here? Am I supposed to look here? Am I supposed to look here? Like, where am I looking?
This is, as I said, we are professionals. This is the kind of quality content you are tuning in for.
So if it looks like I'm looking all over the place, I am. I'm just saying.
Well, I have my notes up here on the screen, so I will occasionally look over there.
Oh, you're fancy. I have my notes in my book.
Wow.
I write. So I write in all my books. Well, I will say that I don't annotate fiction books. I'm not an annotator, but I have no problem with people writing in books and highlighting and sticky tabbing and all the things. I will tell you, know what's so funny is I will write in a book and I will highlight a book, but to dog ear a book, like, you ruined it. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I will write in and highlight a book, but don't you dare dog ear it. Like, that's like, I don't get it.
Her own.
I don't
think I will dog ear a book. I will use multiple bookmarks, and I have bookmarks that are, do I have one here? Here's one. A little bit sturdier. This is a metal bookmark, and I might have bunches of those, and then the little tabs. Like, I've only got one in this book, but that's because I like this book so much. Apparently, I bought it in all the formats. So James Scott Bell, you are welcome. I have this book, the physical. I have a Kindle, and I have it on Audible too. It's actually, he reads it himself. It's a good read. I have read and purchased a number of James Scott Bell's books, not just the same of all one book, but he does some really good writing crafts things, and so topics, and he's very good at what he does. Very knowledgeable author. So I have a lot of his books.
I know that there are other authors that I like. Sarah Cannon, I watch like all of her videos, and she's always referring to James Scott Bell, which I think is one of the reasons I wanted to do this book, because she talks about this book a lot. And I have all of these things next to my desk, but then I also have this container that is full of different types of paper clips. So I have metal ones, I have magnetic ones, I have this super fun one that every time I see it, I think of Tammy Breitweiser. She's now Tammy Evans, but she's who I think of because she's always about no drama llama. No llama drama, whatever it is. So I always think of her whenever I see it. But yeah, so I have all the things, and I have, you guys know, if you've watched any of our videos, you know that we have a pen problem. So of course I have, all my pens and everything, and that's just what's right here that I can grab. So yeah, but it's weird is I will not dog ear a book.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I would rather lose my place than dog ear a book.
Yes. And it's so weird. I don't know why that is. Okay. Back to the subject at hand.
Exactly so.
The book. So you want to get started?
So the premise of this book is that you can write better fiction by discovering going to the middle of your book, or what will be the middle of your book, and then writing forward or backwards, whichever you prefer. But knowing the middle, knowing the exact midpoint, will help you in crafting a better book. And that sometimes he calls that middle point a mirror moment. And what he does great in this book is he talks about, and I guess I started right from the middle of his book instead of starting from chapter 1, where we normally, I just did like he told me.
Of course.
And I jumped in the middle of the book and said what was great and what the premise is. But so we'll talk more about the middle and the mirror moment when we get to that. But the first chapter in the book, and like you see, we said it's a very small book, is just about how this process or style of writing will work for you, no matter if you are a pantser or a plotter, or he calls it a tweener. I call it a plotzer. I call myself a plotzer, and I use a Z.
Or plantser.
Yes, or plantser. So it'll work no matter what style of writing you prefer. So go ahead, Amy.
Okay. So I started from the beginning of the book, because that's where you're supposed to start a book.
If you prefer, to each her own.
And I have to say, the beginning of the book, if I had not been told this was the book to read, I might not have, even though it's little, I might not have kept going.
Really?
Yeah, really, because literally the first couple of chapters, he's explaining what a pantser is, what the middle, beginning, and end are, and all of the stuff that you would probably already know. And I was like, is this whole book going to be just not a regurgitation, but a regurgitation of all the things that you already know? Now, I do have stuff in the first couple of chapters that I underlined. But I was really like, okay, is this the book? Or is it like, are we going somewhere with it? He also, oh my God, my dog, I have to tell you guys. So obviously we're in the RV still. Okay. I have dogs. The window's open because today is a beautiful day. My dog is outside digging holes, and she's finding something in the dirt to eat, in the ground. And I can't yell at her because we're recording. And my husband is in the house building. So I'm just watching my dog dig a hole and dig up something and eat it. So hopefully she keeps it outside, whatever it is. And it's not some little rodent she's going to bring inside and show mommy. Okay. Back to what we were talking about. I keep looking up, but I didn't want y'all to be like, what is she looking at? I'm watching my dog dig a hole in my yard. Okay. So he does go through like what it means. So he's like, in the first chapter, he says it's a moment within the scene. So it's not just the middle chapter, it's the middle of the middle chapter. Yeah. It's that one moment that brings you to, this is what we've been working towards, and now we're going from here. So he explains that in the beginning, which is a good thing for the first couple of chapters. And then he points out, which I literally put LOL in my book, because he said someone always wants to kill Jack Reacher. He's right. Someone does always want to kill Jack Reacher. Yeah. So I started at the beginning and kept going because so many people had said that it was worth reading. And I'm glad I did. It ended up being really good.
Well, I had purchased this book before you and I had decided to read it. So I had read it before, but forgotten because I'd read so many of his books that we'd read it. So when I went through it again, it was with the new lens of having a book that I am editing and knowing, I don't think I got it the first time I went through it, but when I went through it this time, because I'm in the middle of a book, the stakes that he talks about and understanding what that mirror moment is, or that moment in the middle of the book is helping me to, I hope, craft a better book.
I think that may be why oh my God, they're driving me crazy.
Okay, we'll pause.
I gotta change. I gotta put the curtain down so I can't watch them. Okay, I put it down. So I think that may be why I'm stuck in my one book, because it could very well be the middle, and I don't know what that moment should be to project us to the end. So I think that may be where I'm stuck in my one book, is trying to figure out what that moment in the scene should be that is the moment in the middle.
Well, what helped me with this, and when we were reading through this book, is not only that moment, but what comes up in the next chapter is make sure your stakes are life and death. And he talks about the different kinds of death. But I discovered, because I got stuck in the middle of my book as well. They don't call it the muddle in the middle for nothing.
I know.
But I discovered my stakes. I didn't know exactly what the stakes were yet. I mean, I write mysteries, a murder mystery. Somebody's gonna die. She has to solve it, or this person goes to jail and it's unjust. It's not the right killer or whoever it is. But that's not really the stakes for the book that I was writing. So she has more at stake. She has a career at stake in this first book. And she's being asked to do something which she thinks is unjust, just to move this case along. So once I knew that, then I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Then I went back to the beginning and added a little bit more there. And I knew where I wanted to end the book. But that moment in the middle, I had to have a better understanding of that. And this book helped me with it.
I think it's interesting that he went through the different, not all the genres, but he went through some of the different genres and was like, it's not necessarily a physical death. Yeah. It could be a romantic death. It could be a psychological death. Like there's all these different types of deaths, but there's going to be a death of some kind, no matter what book you're writing.
Yes.
You just have to figure out what that is. And that's where I am, because I know the end of my book. I just don't know what that thing is going to be in the middle. I am in the muddy middle right now. And I've started another book because I don't know how to get through.
Don't do it.
Oh no, it's already been done. It's already been done. But if you go past the first couple of chapters where he explains everything, and then you get to what it is, like what the midpoint is, how to change it, writing from the midpoint. He also goes through what he calls signpost scenes. And these are the ones he actually broke down what he calls them. And there's 14 of them. And he feels like all these types of scenes need to be in the books, your books that you're writing, because they're the pieces that take the scene to the next level, and that they should all be part of your book.
What page are those on?
So that one in my book starts on page 37.
Okay.
And it goes through, but then he also, he breaks it down to if you're a pantser, plotter, or a tweener. Like if you're a plotter, these are your scenes. If you're a pantser, these are your scenes. If you're a tweener, these are the things you need to, work out so that it works for you. And I like that he breaks it down, which makes sense that he explained what he was talking about at the beginning of what all these things were. But when you know what they are, you're like, can you get to the part that I don't know yet, please?
Well, the part where that he wrote about the pillar scenes, I did have a little bit of the struggle with. He talks about the mirror moment, and he's got a little diagram there. I had to reread that a few times, because the first time, that's why I glossed over that. The first time I read the book, but this time I understood it a little bit more. The pre-story psychology, that's all worked out for my book, and then the transformation. So now it's a little bit more fun. Now that I'm looking
Right.
at it through that lens, it's a little bit more fun to work those things out. And so he does a really great job of explaining all that. And as you were talking about the other scenes, like, are you in chapter 8? Like, is that where you are?
So that part was in
Middle?
I didn't really go in order. Yeah, it was chapter 8. I was
She
just like,
starts
oh, I
at the
remember this is
beginning
something I
though,
liked about
and
the
then
book.
she jumps all the way over 5, 6, 7 and goes
Yeah.
to chapter 8. But she starts at the beginning of the book. Okay.
Yeah. It's a reading rainbow. We can do whatever we want.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, he does it. Those extra scenes are super helpful to when you, especially. So this book is great, not just to start writing a book, but for editing a book. And when I'm looking back at my book to see, do I have that mirror moment? Do I have my petting the dog scene? Do I have my doorway of no return? And the second doorway, number 2. So I found those really helpful to have them laid out in a more simplistic way.
I also like that after that, he goes through and he's like, what if you're the kind of person that sticks to your genre and you have the concept, but you don't know anything else? Or you're the kind of guy that, you know, you want your character to be this and you want to write a book based on this character. Like he breaks it down to the different types of writers. So there's a genre writer, character writer, people who like to start with a theme, and then parallel plots. Like he breaks it down to what all of that looks like. And then he gives you tips at the end. This is the part that was the most helpful for me.
The tips are gold. The tips are worth the price of admission, you guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, the tips are like, I literally was like, can I just underline the whole chapter? Like, why am I like, literally, I felt like I was like underlining everything.
Yeah.
Like he even explains in one part how you could say it this way, but then he's like, or you could say it this way. And then it's like, it's so different when you add in the different elements to make it, instead of he's just breathing. Like, and he also points out that you should, how's the saying go, where you let the character say what they're going to say without saying it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I forget what that's called.
You don't mean show not tell, do you?
Right, show not tell. Like when you have the character do the thing instead of saying, you know, all eyes turned and looked at whatever. But instead of saying that, you say, you know, you could feel the electricity in the room as he walks through, and you know, all this stuff happens without saying, like, let your reader use their imagination.
Yeah.
Like, don't spell it out for them. And I like that he gave examples of that in here as well.
Is handy. Yeah. And that is one of the things that hangs me up quite a bit is, am I telling or am I showing? Well, and using, that's one of the classes that I'm taking. It tells you about how to use body language to do just that, to do more showing than telling, like, and to use more variety, more variety, a larger variety, use variety of body language, not just the same fist clenched or teeth,
right,
or you know, the white knuckle thing. Use more of that, because humans are so diverse. And so, I mean, there's a whole language we do with our with, you know, eyebrows and facial expression and so forth. So his tips in the back here are super handy, and I really gotta like I said, they're worth the price of admission. I really did like the tips at the back.
Yeah, I really, like, I highlighted a lot of it, and when I got to that part, I was like, okay, yes, okay, whoo, yay, here's the part everybody was talking about. Because I mean, it's very helpful. Like, and he goes through different what are these parts? So he's got tips, but then he breaks down some of his tips into other tips. Like there's like tip 1, but it has 3 pieces to it. I don't know. I found the back very helpful.
Yeah. So I think we got to the end of that book pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's so short, honestly. But when I say short, I don't mean it's not worth it. It's 84 pages, really. And I would buy it again. Actually, I bought it 3 times. So obviously I like this book.
You have already proven your point.
So old American.
And I will read it again.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the middle of one that I'm stuck on. And then one that I'm attempting for the very first time to do an outline on. Because I'm a pantser. But I really feel like this cozy that I'm doing needs an outline.
That's when I started to do more outlines, is when I was starting to write the mysteries. Because having to plant all of the red herrings, the false clues, the real clues, and to know where each of the suspects were, to have all the suspects, and to have their lies, and then the truth, and then all that together, it just, without an outline for me, was a struggle. I know many mystery authors and cozy mystery authors who do it without an outline. They just pants through the whole thing. But I was lost and turned around, and I didn't know. So I do a hybrid, and we'll talk more about outlines when we're going to do a couple of outline books coming up. But I do a hybrid where I start with a really light outline, like a fishbone, and then it gets filled in more as I go along, and then I go back and I fill it in even more, and then it's an iterative outline that has helped me. So I'm pantsing with an outline.
So you're tweening.
I am plotzing. I like plotzing. And I
think plan. So
yeah. So that's it for this book for James Scott Bell's, and we always advise you to go out and get the book. We'll link to it on our sites, but it's James Scott Bell, Write Your Novel from the Middle. That's it for this book. What are we doing next week?
Oh, that's a good question. What are we doing next week?
I think we're doing How to Write a Short Romance. Or are we doing cozy? You guys will have to tune in to find out.
I think we're doing cozy. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll all find out together.
It's a cliffhanger, y'all.
Wait. You can't say y'all. You don't live in y'all. Because you don't live in the Fort South.
My mama is from Mississippi.
Oh, well. Okay.
And I spent summers in Arkansas.
And I guess
from the south side of Chicago.
Oh, no, you just killed it. You killed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please do. Help others find this madness.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.